Revealed, how a heartwarming plea from a poor girl to a CEO millionaire led to an unexpected life-changing partnership. Emma stood at the community center, her heart racing as she clutched her sketchbook filled with vibrant drawings and dreams. In a small Midwestern town, the world spun slowly, yet the weight of life felt heavy on her young shoulders. With a father, once a brave soldier, now weakened by illness, and a mother who worked back-to-back shifts at the local diner, Emma had learned to be strong. She was the bone structure of her family, holding everything together while managing to care for her younger siblings and find time to volunteer at the food bank. But today, news hit harder than usual. The art program that had been a refuge for her and her friends was at risk. Funding was being cut, an unfortunate consequence of budget woes, and the thought of losing the one outlet where they could color their feelings into a canvas, into something bigger than themselves, made her chest ache. Emma felt a fire ignite inside her. She picked up her pen and began to write a letter to Mr. Thompson, the aloof CEO whose towering corporate office tower loomed just outside of town. She poured out her heart onto that page, pleading for art, for inspiration, for hope. As the letter went viral in their small town, it sent ripples through the community. Local news stations flocked to cover this determined girl's message, showcasing the economic divide that placed affluent lives in stark contrast to families like hers. The townspeople shared their thoughts, some filled with skepticism, others with hope. Emma felt a thrill behind her, echoing their reactions, a burgeoning movement pulling the town together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days later, Mr. Thompson walked the dusty streets of her town. Eyes widened, people murmured. Emma met with him, her heart fluttering. She shared her dreams of vibrant murals and rich stories that art could tell, a lifeline for kids who felt trapped by their circumstances. Emma's passion rapidly softened Mr. Thompson's aloof exterior, and he pledged money for the art program. Yet, whispers of doubt brewed beneath excitement. What could a wealthy businessman understand about their struggles? As optimism blossomed, murmurings of unease surfaced, growing like weeds. Was he genuine? Could he really bridge the gap between them? Emma felt herself caught in a tug-of-war. It simmered, tension rising, and she remained tethered to her community, yearning for unity in the face of skepticism. Then she discovered old articles on Mr. Thompson, a troubled childhood, shunned by a father who traded affection for ambition, all aligning to unveil a shocking truth. The implications sent cold shivers down her spine. Could he be trusted? Would he represent everything she was fighting against, the disconnect between rich and poor? As she stood at this poignant crossroads, the fate of the program rested heavily in the air. Emma took a deep breath. Her choice could either unravel hope or ignite lasting change. The eyes of the town, filled with uncertainty, awaited her next move, as hope and fear intermingled, thick as the summer humidity. Emma paced the worn floor of her room, the sketchbook open in front of her, its pages whispering of dreams and doubts. The news of Mr. Thompson's involvement swirled in her mind like autumn leaves caught in a gust, beautiful, but unpredictable. She understood that people were watching, waiting. With every passing day, she felt the weight of her family's struggles and the town's expectations pressing down harder. Emma. Her mother called from downstairs. Dinner's ready. The smell of fried chicken wafted up, reminding her of simple things. Yet the joy was dampened by anxiety. Could a meal and family chatter fix the cracks threatening to split their lives apart? During dinner, Emma stole glances at her father. The once robust man now sat frail and silent. The gaps in conversation felt like holes in her heart. She wondered if he felt the same stirring of hope or pain over Mr. Thompson's promise. Could this stranger really understand their narrative? Or would he be just another face of a system that split them apart? "What's on your mind, sweetheart?" her mother asked, concern cloaking her words. "I'm just thinking about the meeting next week with Mr. Thompson," Emma replied, struggling to keep her voice steady. Her siblings chewed their food, eyes wide, unaware of the gravity in her tone. Emma wanted to shield them from the burden she carried. If only it were that easy, if only hope were not interlaced with doubt. After dinner, she retreated back to her room, her sketchbook beckoning her. She picked up a pencil, tracing the lines of a mural she envisioned. Bright colors, swirling shapes, the laughter of children mixing into art. This would be their haven. As her pencil danced across the page, the weight of the town's skepticism thinned, replaced by the warmth of a shared dream. But the wonder turned cold when she thought back to what she'd read about Mr. Thompson. He had struggled, like her, but had triumphed through sheer will. Could he relate to her family's plight? Or was he merely a man wanting to polish his image through philanthropy? In that moment, the joy of creation faltered. The next day, the local news reported on the upcoming meeting. Emma watched from the kitchen table, her cereal forgotten as the anchor announced, "Will this partnership be a true union of hearts, or just another chance for a CEO to save face?" Anxiety knotted in her stomach. The skepticism of the townspeople echoed in her ears. "Emma, you should speak up at the meeting. They need to hear your voice," her best friend Zoe had encouraged earlier that week, determination lighting her eyes. It felt like a light shining in the growing darkness, but Emma remained hesitant. What if she stood before him, raw and exposed, and it backfired? What if her dreams faded, crumbled like the old paint on the community center walls? Doubts mingled with her aspirations, thickening the air around her. As she sat there, thoughts racing, the phone rang. It was Mr. Thompson's assistant, asking if he could meet Emma for coffee the next day. She felt her heart race. This was unexpected, a chance to question him, to see the man behind the suit. But could she confront him with the doubts weaving a web around her heart? "Okay," she whispered to herself, planning her words carefully. "Tomorrow, I'll find the courage." Tomorrow would be a test, a leap into the unknown. As she leaned back in her chair, the sketchbook remained open, a reminder of everything she fought for. Would she find the clarity she needed? Or would this meeting push her further down the rabbit hole of uncertainty? With the weight of skepticism heavy on her shoulders, she knew one thing for certain: tomorrow could change everything. But how? Emma woke early, the sunlight streaming through her window, but the warmth it offered felt distant. She stared at the ceiling, her mind racing with questions and fears. The coffee meeting loomed over her like a storm cloud, ready to unleash rain at any moment. Would Mr. Thompson be just another polished exterior, devoid of any real understanding? She reluctantly pulled herself from bed and dressed in a simple blouse and jeans, wanting to strike a balance between casual and serious. Her reflection showed a young woman trying to hold it together, face clouded with uncertainty. Emma grabbed her sketchbook for reassurance, flipping through the pages filled with dreams, each image a burst of color against the starkness of her reality. In the kitchen, the aroma of fresh coffee stirred her senses, but her stomach twisted. Her mother stood by the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease. The routine felt oddly comforting yet suffocating. "Emma, you okay? You seem a bit out of it today," her mother observed, glancing up from the griddle, brow furrowed. "Yeah, just nervous about my meeting. Just remember, sweetheart, you're not just representing yourself. You've got a whole community behind you," her mother said, offering her a warm smile. Emma nodded, the sincerity of her mother's words settling somewhere deep inside. "I know, Mom. I just don't want to let anyone down." After breakfast, she pulled out her phone, rereading the message from Mr. Thompson's assistant one more time. It was clear, simple: "Looking forward to our meeting today." The words had a kindness to them that felt surreal. What did he really want from her? Was it purely financial assistance, or did he have a heart to understand their trials? As the minutes ticked down, Emma felt pinned to the ground by her fears, her dreams spinning out of control. Gathering her thoughts, she clutched her sketchbook tightly. This could be her chance to speak not just for herself but for her father and all the families struggling in her town. She whispered to herself, "Find your voice, Emma. You can do this." The cafe was busy when she arrived, the energetic chatter of patrons mixing with the aroma of fresh pastries. She spotted Mr. Thompson at a corner table, casually dressed but still projecting an air of authority. His presence was both intimidating and strangely inviting. "Emma. Nice to meet you," he said with a friendly smile that momentarily eased her worries. They exchanged polite introductions, and she sat down, trying to soak in the atmosphere, the bustling noise feeling like comforting white noise. "So, tell me what inspired this meeting," he encouraged as he took a sip of his coffee. Emma hesitated, looking down at her sketchbook, feeling the thrum of her heart against her chest. She opened it slowly and laid it on the table for him to see. "This is my vision for the community center," she began, her voice gaining strength with each word. "We've been craving a place where kids can play, learn, and just feel safe." He leaned in, genuinely interested, and for a moment, she felt the weight of her fears lift. This was at the beginning of the leap she had dreaded. But just as she started to share her dreams, his gaze shifted. "Emma, I get it, but you need to understand there are logistics at play. Money doesn't always translate to success, sometimes it's complicated," he announced. Those words sent a jolt through her. Was he about to dismiss her? Across the cafe, various conversations carried on: a birthday celebration, a couple arguing quietly, friends catching up. Yet in that moment, all she could hear was the disappointment threatening to envelop her. Desperation bubbled inside her. It was now or never. Could she break through the walls he'd built without sounding like just another girl with big dreams? "Mr. Thompson, this isn't just about money to us," she started, her voice trembling slightly. As she spoke, determined to fight against the skepticism creeping back in, those around them seemed to fade. She could feel the heart pounding in her ears, and she realized this was her moment. But when Mr. Thompson cut in, catching her off guard, she wondered if she had truly reached him. Could she connect with a man far removed from her struggles, or was she about to learn that all walls are harder to break than they seem? "Emma, hold on just a second," Mr. Thompson interrupted, raising his hand slightly. "I want to hear everything you have to say. But first, let us set some ground rules here." Her heart raced at the flip in tone. Ground rules? Was this a negotiation or just an evaluation? She swallowed hard, trying to rein in the panic rising in her chest. "Let us keep it real," he continued, assessing her with keen eyes. "I appreciate your passion, but words alone won't carry this conversation. You need facts to back them up. Can you tell me how this community center would be funded? And what real impact it would have?" The questions hung in the air, heavy. Emma's mind churned. She had the vision but lacked the nuts and bolts to substantiate it. Well," she stammered, "we're thinking of funding through community events and local fundraising." Mr. Thompson raised an eyebrow, waiting. The confidence she had felt was evaporating, replaced by an alarming self-doubt. Clutching her sketchbook, she flipped to her rough plan, each page a testament to her hopes. "We could create programs, engage local businesses, and even partner with schools." "I believe belief is good, but I need proof," he interrupted gently, but forcefully. "I need to see numbers and a concrete plan." "You'll get nowhere without that." Frustration bubbled inside her, dangerously close to tipping over. "But Mr. Thompson, this isn't just a business venture. It's about the kids who need this." She caught herself raising her voice, noticing the eyes of nearby patrons shifting toward them. Embarrassment flooded in her, emotions streaming out like water from a broken dam. "I understand that, Emma," he said with surprising calmness. "Trust me, I care. I see you've put a lot of heart into this, but let us be realistic. Big ideas require big work." She saw something in his eyes. Was it empathy? Did he really care? Or was he just trying to dispatch her like a business proposal? "Mr. Thompson," she said, forcing her voice to steady as her hands trembled. "Please, if you can't see the passion behind the numbers, then it feels there's no chance for people like us. This isn't just about profit margins. This is about lives. Emma, it's always about people's lives, but you need to understand that even the most caring intentions must operate within the realities of business." He paused, studying her reaction. "Can you show me how your community center changes lives with measurable results?" There it was, the dance of dreams and harsh realities waging war within her. She could feel the weight of her father's legacy pressing down. Did he believe that what was uncertain could become certain? "I'll find a way," she breathed out, a fierce determination igniting within her. "I want to let this go." For the first time, she noticed the flicker of admiration in his gaze. Just a flicker, but it ignited something in her. Suddenly, she wanted this meeting to go somewhere, to transform into a partnership rather than a mere courtesy. "Let us outline a plan together, then," he said, a hint of a smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "I can help you, but you have to meet me halfway. We're in this together now. How does that sound?" Relief washed over her as the tightness in her chest began to loosen. "That sounds amazing." But before she could celebrate, he leaned closer, the mood shifting again. "But, Emma, just know that there are a lot of people who will want to see this before they believe it. Are you ready for that?" Her heart raced with both excitement and apprehension as she nodded. "I think so. I have to be." As the conversation continued, thoughts surged through her head. Could she really forge a path that didn't just speak to her heart but resonated with others? Was this a path worth fighting for? With everything hanging in the balance, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was the turning point, or the beginning of a long fight. What if she had to face even deeper obstacles? What if this was just the calm before the storm? There was so much left unsaid, and she needed answers. Because now it felt like they stood on the precipice of something transformative, and all she could do was wonder, would she find a way to leap? Emma took a deep breath, allowing the surge of adrenaline that accompanied her determination to settle. Mr. Thompson's words hung in the air, both reassuring and daunting. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to jump but unsure of what lay beneath. Could she really create something meaningful, something that transformed lives? The cafe ambience faded around her, replaced by the hum of her thoughts. They talked about details, timelines, and community feedback. As she scribbled on notepads and casually referenced her sketchbook, a sense of collaboration began to bloom. "I really believe that if we connect with local families," she said, her voice gaining confidence, "they'll see this center as a lifeline instead of just another project. There's so much talent and hope hidden away, we just need a space to bring it out." Mr. Thompson nodded, that flicker of admiration edging into pride. "Exactly. But we need to translate that into tangible steps. We should schedule community forums, talk with educators and local officials. Recruit volunteers. The more voices we have, the stronger our foundation will be." Emma felt a rush of gratefulness. This was not just a meeting. It felt like a shared purpose. They were two unlikely allies now, bonded by a vision of hope. "But we also need data," he pressed, as she had expected. "Can you gather statistics on youth engagement in this area?" "Absolutely," she replied, determination rekindled. "I can work on a survey. Talk to families in the neighborhood. Maybe even conduct some focus groups to get deeper insights." Mr. Thompson smiled slightly, a softening of his serious demeanor. "That's the spirit. You're not backing down, and that's crucial." Excitement bubbled within Emma, sparking connections in her mind. Ideas flowed like rivers. "If we bring the schools on board, maybe we can have after-school programs that focus on art, sports, or even coding workshops. Things that let kids explore their passions." "Great ideas," he said. "But figure out how to measure success. Attendance rates, skill improvements, those are your hard numbers. Each victory gives us another piece of evidence for backing further funding. The more they mapped it out, the more Emma understood, it wasn't just about heart but also strategy. Curving an idea into something tangible, something necessary, was no small feat yet. Each proposal they discussed felt like stepping stones towards a greater dream. But then, the weight of reality hit her. What if she couldn't find the support they needed? What if the community didn't rally behind this as she hoped? Mr. Thompson, she said, her voice quieter, more vulnerable now. What if I don't reach enough people? What if all this work turns out to be for nothing? He paused and leaned back in his chair, pondering. That's always the risk with dreams, Emma. But remember, every great achievement started as a simple idea. Failure doesn't mean you've lost, it's part of the journey. His words hung like a promise between them, powerful and genuine. But in the moment, doubts began to creep back in her mind. What if she wasn't strong enough? Let us schedule our first community forum, Mr. Thompson said, breaking her reverie with resolve. We'll launch this together. And it'll grow from there. You will stand up and present to them. You'll show them the heart behind this. Right. Her voice was barely a whisper. The thought of a crowd, the pressure, it unsettled her. But behind that fear was something deeper, a flicker of excitement. She had a chance to change her community. She was reminded of her father's hopeful words. Start where you can, and never underestimate your strength. Are you ready? He pressed, eyeing her with interest. Ready or not, she replied, a faint smile tugging at her lips, I'll find a way. They wrapped up their meeting, but the conversation left her both invigorated and anxious. As she drove home, the gravity of the task ahead weighed on her. Would she truly be able to rally her community? Forge connections, ignite passion, and most importantly, may her voice matter enough to inspire others? The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. With each turn on the road, Emma's heart raced with uncertainty and hope. All she could do now was prepare, dig deep, and face what was next. Because one thing was for sure, this was only the beginning. What awaited her on the other side of that first forum? How would her community respond to her attempt to bring them together? Emma pulled into her driveway, her thoughts still tumbling like leaves in the wind. The house was quiet, the familiar creaks and sighs of her family home felt comforting yet somehow burdened with expectation. As she stepped inside, her mother smiled brightly from the kitchen, the scent of freshly baked cookies wafting through the air. Hey, sweetie. How was your meeting? Her mother asked, wiping her hands on a towel. Emma paused, trying to articulate all that had happened. It was intense. Exciting, but overwhelming, too. I'm not sure how to start. Her mother's expression shifted, concern lining her brow. You've been working so hard. Do you want to talk about it? Taking a deep breath, Emma sank into a chair at the kitchen table, the warm cookie aroma comforting. I'm supposed to lead a community forum to pitch this idea for a youth center, but what if no one shows up? Or worse, what if they don't care? Her mother sat down across from her, hands resting softly on the table. Emma, you have a gift for connecting with people. Remember the bake sale you organized for the animal shelter? You rallied everyone together. This isn't that different. You're reaching out for something bigger. Emma absent-mindedly picked at a piece of cookie. But this is different. This isn't just about cookies. I'm asking people to trust in something bigger than all of us. Trust doesn't come easy, but it will come. You have to believe in your vision, honey. And you've got to communicate that belief to others. They'll want to be part of something that matters. Her mother's words rang in her ears, but Emma couldn't quite shake her lingering doubts. What if they think I'm just some kid with a dream? What if they see flaws instead of potential? Then you show up. You show up with your entire heart. Your fear will be there, sure, but so will your courage. You might be surprised how many people want to follow someone who truly believes, her mother replied, a warmth in her voice. Feeling lighter, Emma decided to sleep on it. That night, she took to the pages of her journal, pouring her dreams onto paper. Each stroke of her pen felt like a step closer. As the clock ticked into the early morning hours, the words began to flow more freely, painting a vision of what the community center could be: a sanctuary for kids, a place for exploring talents and passions. The next day at school, she was distracted, her mind racing with ideas for the forum. During lunch, she called a few friends over to discuss her vision. "I need you guys with me when I present," she said. "Can you help spread the word? Maybe even help brainstorm ideas?" Her friends nodded, enthusiasm igniting in their eyes. "Of course. We've seen how passionate you are. People will listen," one of them replied. Empowered by their support, she drafted flyers that afternoon, excited texts fluttering back and forth as they planned. The fear that had loomed earlier melted away, replaced with a shared energy that sparked hope. Yet, as the day of the community forum approached, the nerves crept back in. Would anyone really care enough to show up? Each anxious thought tugged at her resolve. She was on the brink of something significant, but could she face the crowd alone? The evening of the forum arrived, and Emma stood in front of the community center, her heart pounding. Around her, people began to wander in, their whispers mingling with the sound of chairs moving. Moments before everything began, she took a deep breath, finding strength in the uncertainty. This was her moment to shine, to speak from her heart. But as she gazed at the faces in the crowd, she couldn't help but wonder. What if their response was not what she had hoped for? Could she truly inspire change, or was this gathering just another footnote in a restless cycle? The rustle of the audience quieted, anticipation thick in the air. Emma stepped forward, bracing herself, heart racing like a drum. What would she reveal in this pivotal moment? Would hope take root, or would doubt overshadow her dreams? Emma stood at the front, her palms clammy and her breath shallow. She looked out at the gathering of faces, some familiar, some strangers. The room was filled with a mix of anticipation and skepticism. She felt the weight of their gazes, and for a moment, it all felt overwhelming. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she started, her voice trembling slightly. "I've invited you because I believe we can create something wonderful together. A youth center that serves as a safe space for our kids, a place where they can grow, learn, and connect." A few nods came from the crowd, but there were also uncertain expressions, murmurs exchanged among attendees. Emma's heart sank briefly, but she pressed on. "I know it's easy to dismiss the thoughts of someone who is still in high school." She paused, searching for the right words. "But I've seen what happens when young people have nowhere to go. I've seen the potential untapped because there simply isn't a space for it." She felt her confidence building like a flame, flickering at first but growing stronger. Imagine a center where kids can express themselves, try new things, and form friendships. Where they can join a band, or learn coding, or even simply have a safe place to do their homework. A wave of excitement rippled through the crowd at her words. She could see some faces lighting up, and that gave her a rush of relief and determination. "This is not just my dream," she continued, her voice steadier. "This is our dream. A community center shaped by everyone's ideas and needs a space where all of you have a stake. I want your voices to be heard, whether you're a teenager, a parent, or a community leader." As she spoke, she gestured toward the hopeful faces, letting their energy inspire her further. Emma felt those small embers of doubt extinguishing, replaced instead with a fire of purpose. She delved into plans she had created, outlining potential programs, workshops, and activities. "I've already reached out to some local artists and mentors who are eager to get involved," she said enthusiastically. "And I've written grant proposals to get funding. We just need to band together to make it happen." Just as she finished, a voice from the back called out. "But what if no one comes? What if this idea flops?" She was taken aback for a split second, but she quickly found her response. What if it does? But what if it doesn't? What if this becomes a place that changes lives? The room fell silent, and she could see the wheels turning in people's heads. This was her chance to make them believe. Every big dream starts with the first step. All I'm asking is for you to take that step with me. A young girl near the front bit her lip, her eyes glistening with warmth and hope. Emma caught her gaze and smiled. With your help, we can turn this dream into a reality. I believe in this community, and I believe in all of you. The applause started slowly but built into a wave that filled the room. Emma felt tears prick at her eyes, grateful but also nervous about the challenge ahead. As she stepped down from the podium, a man approached her, a local business owner, his face alight with surprise and admiration. You've got something special, Emma. Let us talk about how I can help. The excitement swelled within her, but there was still a flicker of fear. Had she truly moved them? Was this just the beginning, or was it the peak of her aspirations? Thank you so much, she replied, her heart racing with hope. But as she exchanged words with him, she noticed a group at the edge of the room, whispering and glancing her way. Their expressions were hard to read, curious, perhaps, but skeptical. Was there more behind that glance? Was there a voice of doubt lurking in the shadows, ready to challenge everything she had built in that room? Emma felt a chill go down her spine, and her heart raced at the thought of facing more obstacles ahead. What had she truly set in motion? Would the ripple effect of her passion lead to waves of change, or would it invite stormy resistance? The energy in the room began to shift as Emma made her way towards the small group of skeptics. Their body language was closed off, arms crossed, brows furrowed. She approached cautiously, her heart thumping in her chest. Hey, I'm Emma, she introduced herself, forcing a smile despite the unease that clawed at her stomach. One of the young men stepped forward, a wiry figure with tired eyes. I'm Marcus. What you're proposing is nice, sure, but well, intentions don't pay the bills, do they? His words hung in the air like a lead weight. Undeterred, Emma replied, I get that. But this isn't just about money. It's about building a community, a real connection among us. We're stronger together than we are apart. His skepticism flickered, but not for long. And what happens when the funding runs out, or when the kids get bored? You really think we can sustain this? Emma opened her mouth to respond, but paused. It was a valid concern, one she hadn't fully tackled in her speech. You're right, she admitted, feeling the weight of her honesty. Sustainability is a big challenge. But that's why I want to involve everyone so we all have a hand in shaping it. We can have events, fundraisers, volunteer programs, maybe even a mentorship system to keep the energy alive. The other faces in the group listened, softening slightly. Emma pressed on, fueled by their gradual change. We can brainstorm funding ideas. We can work together to create something that lasts. It's not just my dream, it's ours. A young woman with long black hair spoke up, her voice gentle yet firm. And if you fail? I mean, people will talk, people always talk. Emma swallowed hard, her vulnerability creeping in. What if I fail? I won't lie, it's a possibility. But I'd rather risk failing at something that matters than not trying at all. And I believe that every attempt, even if it doesn't work perfectly, can lead to something worthwhile. As she spoke, she could feel her voice gaining strength, riding the waves of hope that their shifting expressions brought. The group shared glances. Then, unexpectedly, the young woman smiled just slightly. Okay, Marcus said slowly, considering. But it can't just be about you. We need to make sure this stays about the kids. Absolutely, Emma nodded vigorously. It's always about them. They're the reason I'm standing here. Just then, the business owner, whose name she learned was Mr. Thompson, joined them, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. I like what I'm hearing. It's not always about having a mountain of cash, sometimes it's about community spirit. The murmurs of agreement buzzed through the crowd. Emma felt a tremor of excitement course through her veins. This was it. But how do we know we can trust each other? A voice from the back broke through. A woman with cropped hair and a piercing gaze stepped forward. Trust is hard to come by in a place like this. Emma's heart sank momentarily. Trust. It was fragile, easily broken. I know it won't be easy, she said, but I swear I will do everything I can to earn that trust. We can host community building events and open discussions. Let's bring our experiences, worries, and ideas to the table. Nobody is alone in this. The atmosphere shifted again. Skepticism gave way to tentative curiosity, and for the first time, Emma felt like they might actually build something meaningful together. As conversations began to unfold, Emma felt the surge of possibility surge through her. She was struck by how a single dream could invite connection or tension. But a shadow loomed in her mind. What if her plan faltered? What if she couldn't keep the community's trust? What if that group of skeptics took their doubts off the sidelines and became opposition? Emma's heart raced once more, igniting a wave of determination. She had to believe in herself and the community she sought to nurture. Would every challenge only draw them closer together, or would there be a reckoning she hadn't anticipated? The stakes had just gotten higher. Embracing the tension, the people around her kept talking, but her thoughts dove deeper into a sea of uncertainties. Maybe trust is the key, but what happens if I lose it? The question hung in the air like a tantalizing whisper. What next step would lead her closer to a future that felt uncertain yet exhilarating? Emma felt the energy crackle in the air around her as more voices joined the conversation. The initial skepticism began to fade, making room for something rawer, more genuine. Marcus leaned against the wall, clearly considering her words. The woman with the cropped hair looked thoughtful, her piercing gaze softening. A glimmer of hope flickered in Emma's chest, urging her to press forward. Why don't we start small? She suggested, a hint of excitement creeping into her voice. Let us have a community picnic. We can bring our own food, games for the kids, and maybe invite some local musicians. Just a fun day to remind ourselves of how we belong to each other, even without money. A ripple of murmurs swept through the crowd. Emma caught snippets, encouragement and ideas began to bloom. The young woman with the long black hair nodded slowly. That could be a good start. Bringing people together can foster that connection you're talking about. And, Marcus chimed in, if we can get the word out, we might even get some more people involved. Maybe it can become a monthly thing. Emma couldn't believe it. The faces around her transformed from hardened skeptics to a canvas of curiosity and intrigue. She sensed the trembling hope that had blossomed from their shared discussions, the spark of unity igniting amidst the uncertainties. As ideas flew around, from potluck lunches to talent shows, Emma felt overwhelmed in the best way. Each suggestion added layers to her vision. There was something powerful brewing, a collective energy she had yearned for. But her heart tugged with caution. Could it sustain beyond a simple gathering? As the plans took shape, she noticed the piercing gaze of the cropped-haired woman fixated on her, as though she were assessing every word, every idea. Emma felt a moment of vulnerability wash over her. What is your name? Jade, she replied, arms still crossed but her expression softer now. I think what you're doing has potential. But you're still alone in this. We can't just follow your lead. We need to shape this together. Emma nodded, grateful for Jade's honesty. I hear you. I don't want to lead, I want to collaborate. Please, help me. If we can get a handful of people to take the reins with me, maybe it won't just be on my shoulders. Jade smiled faintly, a crack forming in her tough exterior. It was a small light but meaningful. The group began tossing ideas back and forth, finding ways everyone could contribute. Emma felt hope swell in her chest at the dialogue, the anticipation of what their coming together might yield. But in the back of her mind, doubt lingered. Would they trust her enough to stay committed when things got tough? The discussions continued, and as faces lit up with excitement and passion, Emma saw shadows of responsibility forming at the edges of her vision. What if she couldn't meet their expectations? The thought gnawed at her. What if none of this works out? She thought. What if I can't keep that trust and support? Yet amidst that cloud of worry, a determination sparked. She felt the weight of their belief in one another, and that became a driving force. As everyone nodded in agreement to the plans, Emma seized the moment, raising her hand. Let us decide on a date, and we'll make this first gathering happen. Cheers erupted, a joyful noise, drowning out the doubt that whispered in her mind. But as she basked in the warmth of their collective enthusiasm, a fleeting question darted through her heart: what obstacles lurked ahead, waiting to challenge this newfound connection? The air buzzed with hope, but underlying it was an electrifying thrill of uncertainty. And at that moment, Emma realized they were embarking on a journey that could change everything for better or worse. Would their little community of dreamers rise to the occasion, or would fear and mistrust unravel the threads they were weaving together? The sun broke gently over Emma's small town, illuminating the community center, their blossoming beacon of hope. The day of the first community picnic had arrived, and as she stood outside with her heart racing, anticipation danced in her chest. She hadn't just rallied the townspeople, she had ignited a flame of unity that she hoped would burn brightly. As families began to gather, laughter intertwined with the aroma of grilled burgers and cookies. Emma grinned as she welcomed each person, shaking hands, hugging friends, and exchanging smiles with strangers. It felt like a reunion, a celebration of something they were all fighting for. Emma. Over here. Her friend Zoe waved, raising a colorful banner that read, "Welcome to the community picnic." They had worked together all week, and the enthusiasm bubbling from Zoe filled Emma with confidence. Maybe this really could be the start of something beautiful. With the sound of cheerful chatter surrounding her, Emma stood in front of a makeshift stage. She glanced around, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. The crowd had grown, a mix of parents, teens, and young children. They were here, all of them, willing to share more than just food, they were sharing their dreams. Thank you so much for being here today. Emma's voice rang out, steady yet filled with emotion. This picnic isn't just a fun gathering. It's a step towards creating a space for our kids, a place where they can explore, be inspired, and feel safe. A ripple of applause echoed through the crowd. She could see familiar smiles: her mother, proud and teary-eyed, her siblings beaming, even her once skeptical neighbors beginning to lean in, intrigued. And among them, Mr. Thompson stood, nodding, adding his silent endorsement to her cause. Today is about more than food and games, she pressed on. It's about letting our children know they have a voice, that their dreams matter. Together, we can build a youth center that reflects all of us. The crowd erupted into cheers. Emma saw heads nodding, conversations blooming. With each passing moment, fear slipped further away, replaced by a growing commitment that filled the air like the sweet scent of cotton candy. She continued to outline their mission, explaining how they could involve local businesses, gain support from schools, and invite artists to mentor the kids. When we join hands, she said, feeling the warmth of her own words, we not only uplift our children but also ourselves. This is our community, and it belongs to all of us. Let us show the world what we can do together. The applause that followed felt electric, a wave of unity crashing over her. Emma could see in their eyes that something was shifting. The very skepticism she had faced began to crumble, laying the groundwork for trust and friendship. As games began and laughter floated freely, Emma felt an arm slip around her shoulders. It was Marcus, who had once been so doubtful. "Hey, Emma," he said, a grin breaking across his face. "You actually brought everyone together. This is awesome." "I couldn't have done it without you guys," she replied, her heart swelling. "This is just the beginning. We're gonna keep this momentum going." He winked, and together they walked through the picnic, chatting with families, sharing ideas, and dreaming of the future. Each little conversation added to the tapestry of connection they were weaving. New faces became familiar, and doubts faded like mist in the sunlight. Hours later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, Emma found herself resting on a picnic table. She looked out at the crowd, the sounds of joy filling her ears, soaking in the energy and warmth. Suddenly, she caught Jade's gaze across the field, the woman she had once feared would be her most significant skeptic. Now, she smiled, surrounded by a group of kids, mentoring them in a makeshift art corner set up just for the event. Emma could hardly believe it. Real connections were forming right before her eyes. "Emma!" Zoe called excitedly. "You need to see this." Rushing over, Emma found a group of parents discussing plans for future events, fundraisers, art workshops, even a possible community board. "Can you believe this?" Zoe said, eyes sparkling. "They want to be involved. It's turning into something real." Tears of joy brimmed in Emma's eyes as the reality of their collective dreams came together. "Yes, yes, yes. This is what we fought for." The day unfolded into magic, as brainstorming sessions erupted, laughter bubbled over, and commitment cemented. They exchanged stories, ideas, and most importantly, their hearts. What began as a spark of hope from a letter transformed into a blossoming reality, driven not just by Emma alone but by a community willing to dream together. As night descended, a sense of calm rushed over her, replacing the anxiety once lodged in her chest. She understood that trust had been built today, a fragile yet powerful bond that tied them together. And as she stood surrounded by new friends and supporters, she knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would tackle them united. Together, they had forged something that felt like home, a sanctuary where dreams could thrive, unhindered by the shadows of doubt. With a deep breath, Emma whispered a quiet promise to herself and her community: they would keep going, keep building, and keep dreaming. Their journey had only begun, but she could already feel the vibrant tapestry of change unfolding before them. Now, as this beautiful chapter comes to a close, there is something vital you need to do: subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this community growing. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this inspiring ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Together, let's keep this incredible momentum going.